What is up, Watch fam? Happy Monday, and welcome to RANT&H. I am Christian from Theo and Harris, and today we're going to be diving into my pick for the best everyday watch under $1,000. Let's do it. All right, before we jump into today's episode, a quick wristwatch check. A brand that I am kind of a newcomer to, something that I've been reading about a lot for the last 4 or 5 months, but something that I actually hadn't, dived. A brand I haven't jumped into quite yet, and I've actually was very happy to hear, once it was basically already too late, if it turned out the opposite, that parts are readily available, so services are relatively easy, kind of like Rolex. It's not as easy, but kind of in that whole Omega field, which probably doesn't mean all too much to you guys, but to me, that means a lot because turnaround is quicker on service. Anyway, this watch will be for sale tomorrow on theoandharris.com, and it will be featured in tomorrow's episode of In the Metal. We'll dive a little bit deeper into this watch then. Okay, now on to the important matter of the day. What is my pick for best everyday watch under $1,000? We're piggybacking off of last week's RANT&H, where I gave my pick for the best everyday watch under $500. We ended up with a Hamilton, and I kind of explored what it is to be, and I kind of explored the idea of what is an everyday watch, and what I was looking for. So we'll do that one more time. What is an everyday watch? In my opinion, an everyday watch is a watch that has, versatility. A watch that the middle of the line people who both dress up and down will be able to wear while dressing up and down. It's not for the everyday watch for construction workers, and it's not the everyday watch for people who only wear tuxedos. It's just the normal kind of watch that can go both ways relatively easily. That's what my idea of an everyday watch is. So, like last week's episode, I'm going to jump into great watches on both ends of the spectrum, in that dress and in that casual. But then we're going to find ourselves in a middle ground. So first, we'll do casual. I think under $1,000, there's a brand that's been getting a lot of attention recently in the last year or two that I think is interesting. It's Alpina. It's a very interesting company. They've got great heritage going back to the 19th century, I think even. They made pocket watches. They made great chronographs that today are super collectible. I mean, there is a lot of Alpina in the vintage kind of watch world. Today, they're owned by Frederique Constant now. I'm not sure how long ago that buyout was, but I think I do remember it, or I just remember hearing about it, which now, I guess, is ultimately owned by Citizen. So Alpina is a Citizen company, so I suppose I'm kind of guessing here that because of the reach of Citizen and Frederique Constant and the entire power of that company, Alpina has been getting some traction. And I really want to recommend an Alpina, particularly today. I mean, their price point does fall in where we're talking, that $1,000 give or take range that I really, like I said, would like to recommend a brand with great heritage in. But unfortunately, the watches I were looking at really weren't cutting it. They were very pedestrian, which is unfortunate because of the price point. I'm fine with some of these watches at half the price, but at $1,300, $1,100. Furthermore, the watches that did fit in the category were like 44 millimeter quartz chronographs at $1,000, and that was not going to be qualified, in my opinion, as the best everyday watch. There's not enough value, and it's a little bit too sporty. So that's kind of where I started this exploration. Then I kind of found myself on the other side with a totally different brand, Junghans, which is a brand I actually like quite a bit. They have an old partnership with Max Bill, a pretty damn famous Swiss architect and designer, which is still respected, like really close to what he originally designed till today. And that's the watch that I chose to really look at. And although I think that this watch is 100% a layup buy at, I think, just under $1,000, the design is true to its original form. It has historical provenance, and I think ultimately, forget the provenance, it's just a good looking watch with an ETA movement, I believe, on the inside. It's a reliable piece. But, and although it came really, really close, I still didn't give the title to the Junghans, simply, I think, because it ever so slightly falls on the dress spectrum. Maybe it's that big white dial or the super simplistic design, I don't know. But although it would work with a sweater and a suit, I have a hard time thinking about it, in a polo and jeans, which maybe I'm wrong. I very well might be wrong. But it's still a great watch to consider, there's no question. So after Junghans, I went over to Stowa and particularly looked at their Marine Classic model, which I think is quite beautiful. I really like it without the date. I don't think the date execution is too great. I don't like the sub-seconds all too much, but the super simple three-hander to me is a really, really attractive watch. At 40 millimeters, it has enough bulk to be casual, but I could 100% see this watch on a nice strap, and with a suit or with a sweater. I think it would do both of those ends really, really well. My only holdback is at $1,000, although it does pack a lot of value. There is one more watch that does everything that the Stowa does well, but at a fraction of the price, and that's the Seiko SARB033, which is $300. And I know I'm comparing a $1,000 watch to a $300 watch, but technically, they're not very different in quality at all. I think that the SARB, particularly on a strap, does the casual and the formal really well. But this time, with, if it matters to you, an in-house movement by probably one of the most famous watchmakers of all time, being Seiko, and ultimately in a form that is not new, but very historical. I mean, if you look at this watch, it respects the classic King Seikos very much so. So it has that history, that horological kind of legacy that attracted me to the Stowa. A watch that, I don't know if I mentioned this, goes back to like the late 1930s. But this Seiko has very similar, roots, and I'm big about roots. So those are the two watches I'm going to pick here, and I'm going to let you pick your watch. Simply, I think I like the Stowa more as a watch, but I'd be more inclined to buy the Seiko for two reasons. One, its size. And although the Stowa at 40 millimeters certainly isn't large, the Seiko at 38 to me would just be much more comfortable. And it doesn't hurt that the watch is like $600 less expensive. But that's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching this episode of RANT&H. It means the absolute world. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you liked my picks and you liked the love that I just gave Seiko, please like this video and comment below. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and join the Theo and Harris Watchfam on Facebook. I will see you guys tomorrow.